chapter 34. Come near, you nations, to hear, and attend, you peoples. Let the earth hear, and the fullness thereof, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the Lord hath indignation against all the nations, and fury against all their host. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and the stench of their carcasses shall come up, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall moulder away, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword hath drunk its fill in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Edom, and upon the people of my band to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with the fatness, with the blood of lambs and goats, and the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. And the wild oxen shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls. And their land shall be drunken with blood, and their dust made fat with the fatness. For the Lord hath a day of vengeance, and a year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night or day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the pelican and the bittern shall possess it, and the owl and the raven shall dwell therein, and he shall stretch over it the line of confusion and the plummet of emptiness. As for the nobles, none shall be there to be called to the kingdom, and all her princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and thistles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be a habitation of wild dogs, an enclosure for ostriches. And the wildcat shall meet with the jackals, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. Yes, the night monster shall repose there, and shall find her a place of rest. There shall the arrow snake make her nest, and lay and hatch and brood under her shadow. Yes, there shall the kites be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek you out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall be missing. None shall want her mate. For my mouth hath commanded, and the breath thereof hath gathered them. And he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. And we remember in last chapter, yesterday, we once again were speaking to those that have set themselves up, that have made this place, and God is likening it now, comparing it to, it is a similitude of this great city, even this city that men have built up in their understanding. But God's going to come against this city because God used it as a judgment now to punish. And what happened was when they came to punish, they exalted themselves in their punishment. And God is now going to turn and punish them. He will punish the one he used to punish. And we also found out that God is the judge. God is the lawgiver. God is king. He is the only one. There is no other. Today, we're calling now to the nations to try to wake the nations up and all the people, because God has a great judgment, even this curse he has set into the land, even this shadow of death. And we're going to pick it up with verse 1. Come near, you nations, to hear, and attend, you peoples. Let the earth hear, and the fullness thereof, the world and all the things that come forth of it. Listen up. Come near. Listen. All the nations, all you people, everybody, the whole earth, and all the fullness thereof. And we've been speaking to those that have set themselves in charge. These are the ones that have made themselves this, even taken up this authority position. And we are going to continue to do so. Verse 2, for the Lord hath indignation against all the nations, and fury against all their host. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. And this is everybody of the earth. God has brought darkness. He has made you drunk, and he has blinded you even. It's written. And there's no exceptions to this. God has done this to everybody. course, they go around and they're going to say other things, and that's fine. You know, Eve didn't think she was dead either. God has utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter, and they go down to the slaughter. This is what they do. 3, their slain also shall be cast out, and the stench of their carcasses shall come up, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And these mountains that are melted are these exalted places, are melted, are brought down by their sin, is basically what this is. Their carcasses shall come up, the stench of their carcasses shall come up, and because this is going to be made known, and this stench is this nastiness even that they've done, this nastiness they've worked in the world, because it is a stench, and their carcasses shall be cast out. Why? They have been slain. They've been slaughtered even. What? By the word of God, by the truth, by the law of God have they been made known. 4, and all the host of heaven shall moulder away, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth from the vine, as a falling fig from a fig tree. Just like a fig, just like when the wind blows and shakes the tree, and the fig drops off, it goes right on, it goes down to the earth. See? And this host of heaven shall rot away. See, and the host we're talking about is all the host of heaven that God gave all the other nations to worship. This host of heaven. See, well, God's going to slaughter them. God's going to slaughter all these not of gods with understanding. Why? There's none that can deliver. They go down, they gather up their wealth and all this, but none can deliver, and the earth continues in its immorality and its sin. None understand. 5, for my sword has drunk its fill in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Edom and upon the people of my band to judgment. Now God's sword has drunk its fill in heaven. He has slaughtered the host thereof with understanding, with truth. These not of gods, these sticks and stones, these things that cannot speak, nor do good, nor do evil. But God can. Now he's come down to Edom. Edom, the red, those that show the blood in the flesh, even these that have made a blood covenant, we have found out. The people of my band, these ones that he has used, see, to bring judgment even. 6, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with the fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, and the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord is the sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. Sword of the Lord is filled with and made fat with the fatness. And this fat with the fatness, this fat is what always brings them down. See, they always get fat, and then they kick. They exalt themselves. They're arrogant. This is the case. So God said, well, I'm going to do a little something, and I'll be able to point you out clearly. And that's what he's done. See, they've hewed them out of place there, just like God said. But God's going to make his sword fat. This sword is the Word. This is the Word of God. This is the truth of God. See, God set punishment in the earth now, and judgment has come. And he's bathed in his sword. He's come in vengeance and anger. And these lambs and goats, these are those ones that have presented themselves before God, even as to make themselves like a sacrifice. They've come down. These cattle, these lesser cattle, and this kidneys of the rams. These rams are these leaders, even these ones that come out and exalt themselves. And these kidneys is to make an end of them, to finish it. Kidneys are to be complete, to finish, make an end of it. For the Lord hath sacrificed in Basra, and Basra is this fortress of the sheepfold, this place where they used to bring the sheep and gather them up and keep them there through the night, so that the shepherds would rest together. This is what Basra is. This is this fortress of the sheepfold even, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. And once again, this land of Edom, we're not talking about the real Edom. We're talking about this land of Edom, even those that show the blood in the flesh. God's been making an example from the beginning, see, when he divided Esau and Jacob in the womb. And the wild oxen shall come, 7, and the wild oxen shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be drunken with blood, and their dust made fat with the fatness. And that's what's happened. That's what happens every time. God has declared it from the beginning. See, when we came in at the end of all this. Now we have went through it, and we are coming once again to the end. And thus they've made themselves drunk with blood. Made themselves drunk with blood, taking this blood in, drinking it even, to make themselves drunken. These bullocks, these bulls, these are the leaders. These are the ones who have, even the young leaders, and these ones that have assumed that position. They took it on. They wanted it. They got it, and this is everything that comes with it. 8, for the Lord has a day of vengeance and a year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. The Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of recompense. And this year, this is a greater understanding. This is that greater circle that goes around. A year of recompense, a great understanding, even an understanding of recompense for the controversy of Zion. And what is this controversy of Zion? We remember this. This is when God came to punish. And when they looked in, they seen the weaknesses. They seen how it was done, and they took it and took advantage of it and used it. Tried to take it to themselves even and say, "My hand has done this." And this is where they're being punished. God used them as a punishment, and they exalted themselves to make it plain and simple. 9, and the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become a burning pitch. And this is what God does. This land is a land, not a physical land, but this land is a land of understanding. This is the land of your understanding. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. Because God has set it on fire, the consuming fire, the law of God has come down and consumed it. It had been set on fire. 10, it shall not be quenched, night or day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. For the breath of the Lord has consumed it utterly. 11, but the pelican and the bittern shall possess it, and the owl and the raven shall dwell therein, and he shall stretch over it the line of confusion, and the plummet of emptiness, the measure of confusion, and the plummet of emptiness. Now they say, well, there's nobody going to be there forever and ever. Well, these that are going to be there, there are those there. But we have a different understanding of those now. This pelican and the bittern shall possess it. This pelican is an unclean bird. This pelican is a bird that swoops down as it takes a prey. And the owl and the raven, that's birds of these unclean birds. This owl even represents a certain wisdom even in the night. And this owl is a bird of prey, and so is the raven. And this bittern is an animal that runs around cringing up every time a bird flies over. It lives in fear constantly from these birds of prey. And this is the confusion that God stretched over it. This is the plummet of emptiness. They run around like birds of prey, swooping down, men cringing underneath them. This is how God has done it. As for her nobles, none shall be there to be called to the kingdom, and all her princes shall be nothing. Her nobles, these ones that have exalted themselves, there's going to be none left. We found out God's going to do away with them. God has come down, and this city that they dwell in, this great understanding that they think they have, He's going to destroy it with the law. 13. And the thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and thistles in the fortresses thereof. And it shall be a habitation of wild dogs, and an enclosure for ostriches. And that's what it's going to be. An enclosure for these wild dogs, even these howling creatures. And an enclosure for ostriches. This ostrich it actually means the daughters of the owl. These ones that come from this wisdom, or even these ones that hide their head now, even in the earth, these ones that hide in the flesh. And the wildcat shall meet the jackals, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. Yes, the night monster shall repose there, and shall find her a place of rest. And these wildcats, these ones that are howling and yelping, you can hear them in the desert at night. They're out there in the dry place howling and yelping, crying out. And this satyr is one, it's like a dog with his hair raised up on his back. He's all bristled up, walking around puffed up, angry, always on the defensive and scared. Yes, the night monster shall repose there. This night monster is Lilith. Lilith, see, and what it was not a goddess that was worshipped by Edom, and it was used here as a form of fear, to strike fear into. Even little children used to scare the children to make them be obedient. There's other ways to teach your children. There's the law. We can teach the child the law. But these were forms of fear that was used to scare the people even. And this is this night monster. This is the shadow of death. This is that shadow that covers even in the night. You think you're safe there, but there's evils lurking in the shadows. 15. There shall the arrow snake make her nest, and lay and hatch, and brood under her shadow. Yes, there shall the kites be gathered, every one with her mate. This arrow snake is the striking viper. This arrow snake is a snake that strikes, that lashes out even. There shall she make her nest, in this place of fear, even under this night monster, this shadow of death. And she shall lay and hatch her brood under her shadow. And the kites, these birds of prey, shall be gathered there. These ones that swoop down even and take those that they wish. 16. Seek you out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall be missing. None shall want her mate. For the mouth it hath commanded, and the breath thereof it hath gathered them. This is a fierce place. This is a place of cursing. This is a place of evil. This is a place of prey. This is the place of rawness of the earth, where you are taken as prey even. Your souls are just swooped down on, and they've been taken. People have no understanding. God has caused this. There's a confusion in the earth, and God has caused it. But God is going to raise himself up in judgment. And when he makes himself known, all the earth is going to flee in their understanding, because none can stand before the Lord. 17. And he has cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line, and they shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. God has cast the lot for them. He has given it to them. This is what he has given them. His hand has divided it unto them by line, by measurement. He stretched out the boundaries of it. They shall possess it forever, from generation to generation. And this is what they do. It's forever and ever. See, it's perpetual even now. Unless you turn and return to the law of God. And then the law and God shall devour the devourer. He shall rebuke the devourer. This that burns, this that tears away at generation after generation. They are consumed in the fires of idolatry. They do not turn to the law of God. There is the law and God that gave it. All right, we're going to move on to chapter 35.